good evening, everybody. Once again, it's the Thursday Night Forum has come around, and we're on the eve of the second game of the season. And what else? We have the Here We Go. Fabrizio Romano has said it's happening. Mikel Merino, he's coming.
Yay, we get our second transfer.
Number 3 or 4. I don't know if you're
counting. Our second transfer in the window, so yay. Yeah. Still got 3 more to go?
3 more days to go, more like.
Yeah. Well, we need more. But everybody in the chat, thank you for joining us. Ray, Lonzo, Stan, and Tony. Here we go.
Why am I last?
You joined last. What do you mean?
Sometimes the last person in gets the most honor sometimes, Tony.
Just went in the order. I said I didn't actually go in the right order anyway. Stan should have been first. All right. So, Tony, you yeah.
Well, yeah.
You were supposed to be where you are. Stan should be mad at me.
Stan was here first, then Alonso, and then Gary, and then Tony, if everyone wants to know the rotation. So, there you go. Alonso. Listen, we've been talking about this player, right? It's Merino. It feels like we've already signed him, but it's official, kind of official now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of glad. I want to say hello to everyone in the chat box, and Tony, Gary, Stan, Gary, Ray, our bunch is here tonight. So, yeah, I mean, looking forward to seeing Merino play finally. All these rumors, speculation of him coming to Arsenal, and just looking forward to see what he could do for us. And hopefully be on the same starting 11 sooner or later, and seeing what he could do as far as bringing us the title. I think Arteta finally seen how Party isn't good enough anymore, and he brought reinforcements to help the midfield like Declan Rice and Martin Odegaard. So, yeah, really looking forward to seeing how he fits in. He won in Spain in the Euros and played well in that competition. So, yeah, looking forward to seeing how it comes along.
Listen, we'll be very interested in how the pecking order will be deemed. There will be lots of games for everybody, but it's true. Will it be Partey or will it be Merino, Tony? You know, we don't know.
I don't know there. Probably Merino, 28, Partey's 34, whatever Jorginho is. They're the old midfield minus Odegaard, which is probably 24, 25 at this point. Yeah. No spring chickens in there.
28 years old. I mean, he's still got some life at 28 years old, so you never know. You know what I mean? What's your take?
Oh.
Huh?
I wish I was 28.
You're no spring chicken if you're 28, apparently. In Tony's books. Listen, he's not the youngest player in the squad.
I must be ready on that basis. I must be ready for the knackers yard then.
As BX Gunner says, he's 28. He's not dead, Tony. He can do things on the field. You know what I mean? He'll be able to do things. Welcome, Red John. DWTT in the house. Hello. Greetings, everyone, and welcome. You almost got nailed. You almost nailed the Voltron colors. I don't know what that means, but somebody knows what that means. Explain it to me.
You don't know Voltron, the little where there are like 5 guys that join together in like this big machine. Right. How the fuck do you not know who Voltron is?
Power Rangers.
Come on, Ray. Be better.
Stan,
you got anything else to add to this? We'll go around again, or
well, yeah. I mean, it's a player that I don't really know anything about. You know, I wasn't sitting there avidly watching all of Spain's games, so it's going to be interesting to see how he fits in, where he fits in. Obviously, there'll be time for him to bed in, but you know, he's 28, so he already has knowledge. You know, he's not like he's a young kid coming from abroad. You know, he's been around a little bit. He's going to be able to speak to plenty of people in his home language if his English isn't too good, so that's not a problem. The manager will definitely be able to communicate with him. So I'm just interested to see how he slots in and how and what he can give to Arsenal. You know, but initially when we heard about, or initially when I had the very first links to this guy, Mikel Merino, it was like, yeah, we can get this guy for 20 million. I was like, that's a bargain, isn't it? Not really. But it's turned out we've actually paid quite a little bit more than that. So let's see. I mean, the only thing that I'm concerned about, it reminds me a little bit, even though the window's not shut, of that season where we lost both Aubameyang and Lacazette, but we only replaced with one. We didn't bring on another two. And so far this season, we've let in the midfield El Neni and Emil Smith-Rowe. I don't know if you can really count Charlie Patino because he wasn't in the starting lineup. And as far yet again, we've only brought in one. So we haven't even replenished, what we had, let alone add surplus. As I've always mentioned as well, if we lose Martin Odegaard for an extended period of time, I'm kind of scratching my head to wonder who goes into that place. So yeah, I'm glad to see him that we brought someone in, but I do think that I would still like to see some more work done before the window closes.
Yeah, definitely. Gary, it's getting compressed this window now. It's going to get down to 8 days now. This time next week we'll be talking about the window slamming shut. So we have gotten Calafiori in, and now we've gotten hopefully Merino in as well.
Yeah, so hopefully we get to this surprise that Edu told us is going to come, because it hasn't happened yet as far as I'm concerned. Even if Eddie goes and Nelson goes, we still have a surprise that I'm waiting for. So who knows what that is? They're looking at attackers. That'd be a nice surprise. 2 attackers, not even better surprise. I don't think
that's Voltron, right?
Voltron, yeah.
Okay. Is that like? Are you like trying to get his screen like illegally, whatever they call that thing?
It's a GIF. Come on.
That doesn't matter, does it? If it's like illegal.
It's Tony approved. It's Tony approved.
You know what? Then you better take it back, because
You go.
Odegaard Partey, all the Brazilians speak Spanish, I believe, and Odegaard's linking up
Brazilians,
with
Brazilians speak
again
Portuguese, don't they?
Yeah.
Brazilians speak Portuguese, not Spanish.
Portuguese.
Isn't it Odegaard, Calafiori, or Merino, and one other player all played together at the
Real Sociedad?
But who were the 3 players? I don't remember. I know
It was
Odegaard and Merino.
Isak, Odegaard, and Merino.
That was it. It was Isak.
Yes.
So that would be a nice.
We only
surprise.
need Isak now. That's going to be the one.
You got to complete the set. You can't leave the set hanging, right?
That's a fact, man,
Eddie's like a collector. He's got to collect that third one. The Predator from Newcastle. Let's go get him. You know what I mean? Yeah. So look, my guts. BX Guts is telling them Sterling is a strong link.
Oh no. No.
BX, you're gonna have to delete. You're gonna have to put yourself in timeout.
Well, Stan, you did want to talk about Chelsea and Sterling.
Nobody wanted to talk about Chelsea.
He doesn't want to talk about Chelsea. It's great, isn't it? It's brilliant.
I want to laugh at them.
Let's go there. Let's get into Chelsea real quick while we're at it. Get it out. Get that stench out of the way. So Maresca, the new coach, has come and said, "I'm only going to deal with 25 players or 21 or 15, whatever the number is." That means the rest are sort of dead to rights, right?
Why would you go there then? Yeah. You'll be like, "Am I going to be allowed into this 21? Am I going to make that cut? Am I going to be with the dead wood?" But the one that for me is it's like, they take João Felix on loan. They have a good look at him. Doesn't set the world alight. Goes to fucking Barcelona. Doesn't really set the world alight there either. You only have to look at his stats for the teams that he's played in and what he actually produces, and they're going to go and spend 60 odd million on him. That for me is bizarre, man. I don't understand that at all. I mean, you've had the chance to look him up. You can't spend that money on something better. I mean, was he going to play? Is he playing as a number 10?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's his position.
He doesn't have a shirt. He doesn't have a shirt at Chelsea now. They took
his shirt away. Raheem Sterling. They snatched his number.
Yeah.
They've given his number to Neto. Now, Neto, it wasn't like Neto's number was like 85. He had 19. Why do you have to make the switch Do you know what I mean? It is a little bit.
Yeah.
It's a little bit like coming on as a sub and then being subbed off. It's a little bit like that. Do you know what I mean? Even though they've got no plans for him. How do you know that he might do something in training and work his way back in? Okay, you ain't got no plans for him, and you've told the player that, but you have to like strip his number as well and give it to the other to another. Do you know what I mean? It just seems a bit
strange.
over.
Yeah,
Bit
very
much,
strange. What's going on over at Chelsea? Welcome, Lawrence. How are you?
All right, I'm still waiting for Merino to arrive.
It says down here, Red John says he is here.
Yeah, of course he is.
Look out your window, Lawrence.
I'm sorry?
Look out.
Look out your window.
Look out.
He's there.
He's waving.
Well,
Waving.
Well, now he's gone, so now you turn around. He's not there.
Yeah.
You know what?
He's got in
You know what? When
Uber.
you snooze, you lose.
I'm-
Dude, you gotta.
I mean,
He
it's so
still hasn't done his
fucking hard.
medical.
Be careful now.
You know my stance. You know
Lawrence,
my
be
stance.
careful.
You know my stance. It's not a done deal until I see him sitting at a
I
desk in
thought you
between
were gonna say until he
Arteta
shows up on the teletext. That's what I thought you were gonna
and
say.
he's signing his contract and he's got a shirt with his name and number on it. All this
Now, Lawrence, you
bullshit about,
scuppered.
it's a done deal.
You scuppered the
It's
Nketiah
bullshit.
deal last weekend, so don't do this to Mikel Merino. Don't do this.
Okay,
I'm saying it as it
Nketiah.
is, right? I keep bringing it up. Mikel, Mudryk, that was a done deal, supposedly. he has an Arsenal tattoo on his ankle. Everyone says, "Oh yeah, it's a done deal. He's stopping off at Office Depot to get the ink for his fountain pen." And what happened to that? Just like
Still there.
Julian Draxler was a done deal. Just like Benzema was a done deal.
That's still on the
Just-
card, Lawrence.
just-
That's still could happen. Don't the Drax.
Yeah, right.
Seriously.
Yeah,
That's
more
still on,
chance
that's
of me
still on the
getting a
card.
date with one of the Kardashians.
You never
will
know,
be here
Lawrence.
one
You
day.
never know. One day it could happen.
There's
You know what I mean?
There's more chance of Tony lending me his box of crayons.
That's good with Raya.
I just wish people would just calm down and wait for things to happen instead of having a wank in their sock.
It's
I'm
happening. It's
superimposing
happening.
Yeah, right.
Sterling has been
I
written
hope
off
it-
like he's terrible as being when he's anything but. You know, Lawrence.
Why would they make
Is
the
Lawrence
decision
in London?
Why would they make this decision on Sterling this far into the window? Would you not? Would you have not come to that decision earlier, like at the beginning? pre-season, put it
Chelsea.
out there. Yeah, see if anybody's interested. You know.
You want it? I
But
suppose.
now
as
it's
a
like 2
manager-
weeks to go. You're telling the guy, right, you've got to find somewhere else. You're like, you're
Yeah.
like, what's going on?
Why
It's that pre-season.
Why
I've been
did-
playing for you
why
in
did
pre-season and
Sterling-
doing
why
stuff for
did
you in pre-season.
Sterling-
Now you don't want me.
did Sterling put that statement out at the weekend? I mean, he's dug his own grave.
They want
Why?
out
It's-
now because they know they're not going to play. A lot of these players are not going to play. You look.
Well,
I
you don't-
saw. I saw 1 to 11 in the depth chart that they have would make Gary very happy. They got 4 players in every position.
You can't get past that defense. Yeah. No, I think the coach
Like
coming out saying what
52.
he's saying isn't right. I don't know what Sterling said, but if it's in response to what they have done to him, I don't know.
Yeah,
Gotta stand up for yourself at some point. You got to stand up for yourself.
They want answers. They want answers as to what his season's going to look like. Lawrence is on the west coast of the USA, right, Lawrence?
Yeah, in baking hot Los Angeles.
Baking hot Los Angeles. Chelsea is
Yeah,
a career
90
killer. What's that, Lawrence?
I just come back from the valley, 93 degrees.
Nice.
The Valley.
Why'd you go there?
there's 100 here,
Had
man.
a doctor's appointment.
Okay.
Lawrence, there's 100 here, Lawrence. 100
Where's
Texas.
Texas.
Oh wow.
Do we want to know about Oklahoma?
It started with it was like
Here we go.
73. Now it's like 94, 95.
Yeah.
Ray,
Yes.
I thought we had a challenge for our Swedish chef.
Who's that?
Gary.
To do what?
Well, I typed in a little box.
Oh, okay. Have Gary say Ethan won Airy.
Yeah. After you fucking tell him how to say it. Way to go, Ray.
All right, no problem. Welcome, Tiger and Gunnar. Welcome, Luca AFC. Has been a long time indeed, Luca. Morning, lads, all the way from Australia. Stan, I want to steer clear of Sterling.
I personally, with Sterling, for me, I can kind of understand why a manager would be, a new manager, managers come in, they want to shake things up, change things around. I could understand a manager not wanting Raheem Sterling in his plans because his time at Chelsea hasn't been, it's not been bad, but it's not been, like irreplaceable. We have to keep this guy, there are workarounds. So I get that. And that happens sometimes, sometimes a player reaches the peak of their powers and that's it. And it's time to move things around and change things around. But he's on big money, big bags. I'm not, again, according to Tony, he's 28, so he's virtually dead. He's on life support, right? He's an old fella now.
It's over. Yeah.
But I don't really want to go. I wouldn't want to go down that road. For me, that would be like going down the Rashford road as well. I don't want any of that. Yeah. I don't want cast-offs that are no longer working out somewhere. I want some fresh faces. But that's just me. We did it. We managed to get a tune out of Kai, but it took a while. It took a while, didn't it?
It took Arteta a while. It didn't take a while. I think we knew where he should go. It took Arteta a while.
It took Jesus.
But again, in the back of my mind, just touching on Mikel Merino, I really hope that he comes in and hits the ground running and doesn't turn out to be another teabag. Because at this moment in time, you have to say that Fabio Vieira at this, is kind of a bit of a dud at the moment. As I hate to say that, he has, it's a big season for him. We can't have another one of those.
He might actually get along.
We need to be a dead cert. We need to who we bring in. They need to be able to come in and play their part. We can't afford a dud.
He might even get a loan. Who knows, Fabio Vieira, if we get enough players in, we have covered.
Well, what about Ademola Lookman?
Yeah.
What about Ademola Lookman?
Well, I just saw, and whether things are happening fast, I know, but I just saw that he's going to PSG. I don't know if that's true or not.
I watched him play against Bayer Leverkusen in I think it was the Europa League final, or was it the Conference League final?
Yeah, had a great
game.
One
of those two. And I said at the time, that is what player we should be going after. Everyone scoffed at me and says, no, it's not a player that would fit in, right? I'm now seeing headlines saying that Arsenal are monitoring the situation at Atalanta.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of headlines in the next week. Alonso, the player we have to look for is one who's going to be happy as a forward player to sit behind Martinelli, Trossard, Saka, Kai Havertz, even Gabriel Jesus. That's the kind of forward we're going to be looking for next.
Yeah, and I've been listening to some videos and clips about how we needed a world-class striker, and I forgot who I was listening to, but they mentioned Kai Havertz doing a bit for Germany and also doing it for Arsenal, but we needed someone that's more, as Tony says, more clinical. I would not mind an Ivan Toney in Arsenal. Some people want somebody else like Isak. But whoever if you get that player, ought to be dynamic, and in the sense that he should be able to score goals and bring assists, because he's been missing that for quite a while now. Tony's always in a box trying to do something on a constant basis, and it can only work for so long with Kai Havertz. He did score a goal in his first game in the season, but I'm hoping that he can do more. He has the tools, I think, now that he's an Arsenal player. He had a good second half last year, so whatever we do, it has to be smart and not BS around. Like Stan said, it's unfortunate that that Villa hasn't got on as much as I want to see more of him.
Yeah.
I don't think that we're going to see a lot of him this year, unfortunately, because he's always hurt. Seems like so. We need someone that's not going to flop because we can't afford to waste time on a player like we already have it. What we already have done with Nketiah, aka Nketiah. So it's got to work out somehow.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of Eddie Nketiah, Gary, the net spend could be if Eddie Nketiah moves on. It seems like personal terms have been agreed with Nottingham Forest. Eddie Nketiah moves on. Our books will be basically balanced with incomings and outgoings. Do we have the room to go big for a player such as an Isak, or do we have the ability to go big? And as Edu has said, I think you're going to see something very, very exciting, very surprising very soon.
We had at least 50 mil. We had at least 50 mil, right, to get Sesko before we even sold or bought a player. So
okay, interesting.
Now
Yeah.
if you're saying we're even now with the two players we're potentially, we're going to bring in and two set players we sell, then we still have at least 50. That's Tony, and if you remember, Tony is one player that Saliba had a tough time managing, right? And if you have a player like that, now you have a different type of player in the box, a little bit more physical than what we've got right now in our team.
Yeah.
So it's an answer, but I don't. I think we all know it's probably not an Arteta answer. But if he's finding somebody he likes, then he'll play him. So that's kind of how I have to look at this thing. Whoever Arteta brings in and Edu bring in, they're going to play. So that's a key thing, and if that's the case, that's better than what we had, because Nketiah and Nelson and Emil weren't playing. So everybody that we bring in now, we probably feel they're going to play.
Yeah, maybe even Nelson could get a move as well. All right, guy.
Yeah. Nelson might go as well. Yeah, I mean, for those young players, they need to go. I mean, more for them than for Arsenal making money off of them and all of that stuff. Their careers have been stymied a little bit by staying here. Yeah, it's cool to be part of the Arsenal, club and all of that. But if your career was to be a footballer, I doubt you wanted to be, just practicing and sitting on benches or sitting in the stands even. So at some point you're gonna have to go off on your own. Arsenal kind of got you to this point, but now you need to probably go out and do something for yourself.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where how I look at it for those youngsters. Not everybody can be a Saka. There's not that many of those in the world, much less in one club. So and now we've gotten wary, and maybe Skelly. I think Skelly had a really good day today in the academy. There's some young players that are probably ready to take their spot, at least on the bench, and then move up from there. So yeah.
Stan, what's your sense of it? I mean, we don't know what's going to happen in the next week, but we probably do need somebody going forward. Difference I think between Arsenal and City, and there was nothing between the two teams last season. One result here, one result there. The difference is we were very defensively sound, but they could have the firepower that could win games for them. We probably need one more forward at least before the window closes.
I think even Mikel Arteta knows that he would like to have one more forward, but it does seem that any more incomings are going to be depending on outgoings, and it looks like a deal for Eddie Nketiah for the money that Arsenal wants looks like that could be imminent. So that maybe that helps. If that happens in the next few days, if there's still time, I'm sure that they've got a list ready of people that they would like to approach. But I found it interesting that I was reading yesterday. I've been Man City have snuck a bid into Real Madrid for Rodrigo.
Man
For me,
City.
that's
Did they really?
Yeah. For me, that would be a big
bad.
a big move. I think Rodrigo for me is a world-class player, and there's been I know that Mikel Arteta also admires the player through some reports that I read. Not that I know personally, he didn't phone me up and say, Stan, I'm a big fan of Rodrigo's, by the way. It was just stuff that I was reading, and that they were even saying that if Mikel Arteta was considering tabling a bid to make him an offer of making him the biggest star at Arsenal. I don't know how true the story was, but it seems now that Man City, obviously they've got that Julian Alvarez money burning a hole in their pocket. So in terms of they've gone over and tried to sneak a bid in for Rodrigo, who's reportedly not happy, doesn't feel that he's getting a share of the limelight. They're using the initials of Vinny Jr., Mbappe, but instead of using Rodrigo, who's on the other side of the attack, they're using Bellingham, who's in the midfield, and he's kind of feeling that he wants to have a little bit more spotlight. So he's obviously got a bit of an ego about him. Yeah. So, Manchester City. And then you got the other thing with Manchester City, which I just find a total head scratcher. They sell Gundogan to Barcelona for 7.2 million. It wasn't a free transfer, and the only reason that Gundogan they couldn't come to agreement for him to stay was he wanted a longer term than what they were willing to offer. And now he's being sent back from Barcelona because they can't register Dani Olmo, who they've bought, unless they get rid of someone or make space somewhere. And Gundogan's going to go back to Man City for free. No money, no transfer fee or anything. So they got 7.2 million. He went away for a year. Now he's coming back. I mean, what kind of luck is that? I wonder if we're going to get Emil Smith-Rowe back in a year.
Hopefully. Gundogan probably realized the situation he was dropped in at Barcelona wasn't the best one for a player to be in, and took the opportunity to come back to Pep. Come home. Pep said, come home. I don't know. Some Arsenal fans are real. I mean, obviously, if Gundogan was going to come to Arsenal, I would have taken him. But the age that he's at, and I'm not
any minute
sure
it could fall to pieces, right? Any moment it could just fall to pieces before your eyes.
I'm not so sure. You don't know. The greatest move for City to do. Red John said, if we get a clinical strike before the end of the window, we will win the league. And it just depends on how rich our money is going to be. Only one position shy of winning the league, in my opinion, and that's the striker position. We just sold Nketiah. I think it has to be confirmed, but personal terms have been agreed, and that might have been a stumbling block. As Tony knows, we gave young Edward a lot of money in one of those deals in the recent past. Two things Tony likes to talk about: the past and Eddie Nketiah.
Here we go.
I don't know how Reis Nelson passed him up in the wage book because he's on around 30 grand a week, which is a stumbling block of getting rid of him.
Where's Reis going?
Reis Nelson's not on 130 grand.
Yeah, yes.
Eddie's on 120. And apparently, Eddie has made it clear.
I think Reis is around 80 or 90, probably, or 100.
Even though he wants to play first-team football because he's not getting that at Arsenal, he's made it clear that wherever he goes, he ain't taking a pay cut. So don't even bother coming to me with that stuff. It's not happening. My friend, as Eddie would say.
Man. Here we go. Tell me this. We're talking about Gundogan. If a player comes from La Liga, they go and they have a 5-goal, 14-assist season. Does that concern you?
That his stats? 5 goals and 14 assists across 40, 50 games?
About 46 games.
Yeah. It doesn't concern me. I don't think it concerns me. It's not numbers that would frighten me.
I know Barcelona is not a good team, but we always look at the team that they're coming from when they go in.
Yeah.
The Premier League is not the same one that he left. It's only been a year, but it's not like teams aren't tougher now. Teams are deeper now. And we're seeing that with, we'll see how Villa and West Ham are, but they've spent a lot of money on players this time around. And Liverpool has like 2 teams They have an A and a B. They can just play whichever one, and so we'll see how this all works out. But yeah, he's a year older, right?
Mhm.
We know how they're going to play, so it might be good for them for the nostalgia of it. It may not actually work out. We'll see. We shall see.
I wonder if we are just seeing small signs of Man City, the era of Man City coming to a close a little bit with, and we'll see what Pep does at the end of the season if he jumps ship.
You know he's going to. His contract's over. Come on, he's not re-signed.
You're probably right, Tony. You're probably right. Gundy also
He probably doesn't fancy managing down there in the 4th division in the Conference League or wherever they'll be. So
yeah, exactly. Gundo also said the mentality levels are not up to snuff at Barca. So there's a team that's in the line. Man's cheaty or nuts.
I can't imagine why either. You're sitting at Barcelona every month. You're probably looking at your bank account. The money isn't in there yet. So money that'd be in there. Who knows?
Yeah. Abdi said we need an attacker before the window closes. I think that's for sure. Ask any Arsenal fan, they'd say we'd like another one. You know what I mean? And today as well, right? Stephen's joined the fray. Evening all. Welcome, Stephen. Hope you're doing well. City just got better, as crazy as that sounds. City just got better. We're Gundogan. Maybe a little bit extra depth, maybe a little bit of extra experience.
Very good for them, though, isn't he? It's very good for them. Scores important goals. He plays a little bit deeper. He can do a little bit of everything. You don't have to start him in every game. But to have him around as well, having him around, the mentality of winning the treble, like somebody just mentioned there in the chat box. I can't really gone past me now. It's they're lucky bastards, isn't they? And he just got them. He went away on holiday for a year, and they got paid 7.2 million. I mean, we can't sell players for that much. It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
Gundo is world class and clutch.
Guess what? If hopefully if we're up a couple of goals, then maybe you know what? It doesn't matter when he comes in. Yeah, so that's up to us to make. So that's up to us. We shall see. We can beat them. So there you go. Have to
Lawrence,
do it.
You all right there, Lawrence?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Gundo will help with their UEFA Champions League.
Jesus Christ.
Okay. I'll keep going here. So listen, Gundogan is going to be player manager in 2 years' time.
Oh man, don't care, man.
Maybe in the 4th.
They scratched their butt right in front of you. You know that. Come on.
Lawrence looked like Buddha rubbing his belly.
Said I don't care. I've seen things you haven't seen, right? Tell him, Lawrence.
What was that?
You've seen things nobody could have imagined, right?
Oh, well, probably surprises me every time with his statements. Just when you've heard everything, Tony comes out with a classic.
Tony coming down with a classic. That's a good one.
I always have a trump card.
That's right, pal.
Gundogan's world class. When he left City, they just won the treble. So Gundogan will revive that treble winning mindset back at City.
Exactly.
Listen. Let's jump into the PFA awards now, real quick as well, because this mentality and just winning the treble. It seems to me like Rodri likes to have a dig at Arsenal every time there's a microphone in front of him. He's got a little dig at Arsenal. You little fucker, isn't he?
Yeah, a little fucker. He is.
He does. He goes after Arsenal, right?
Sit down and shut up.
He's kind of like your
Go and polish your fucking trophies, Rodri.
Yeah, stop talking about Arsenal.
The only thing you can do is shut him up, but that's on us, right?
Exactly, Gary. Exactly.
That's on us. Just shut him up. I mean, that's
apparently
Havertz to make him look silly. Odegaard to make him look silly.
You know what should have happened,
He's
Gary?
Madrid's biggest. Apparently, he's Madrid's biggest target. They really want Rodri.
Do they really?
So, but don't know if that will play into the Rodrigo thing. But they were saying that they were definitely going to make a bid for him next season. Definitely, we're going to make. They're making a
Real
bid for him
Madrid.
next summer.
We don't have space, man.
If
We
they've
only
gone there
got
to deal with
Isaac, man.
Rodrigo,
Well-
maybe there because no, who knows?
There might be a vacancy if they're in the 4th division of the Northern Conference somewhere. You know what I mean? Man City, 115 goes down. But yeah, Gary, I think Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes should have just taken him out to the back alley and beaten the shit out of him after making comments like that in front of them at the PFA Awards.
Yeah, you got action speaks louder than words, right? So we will see them in 4 games. I don't know if that's 4 weeks or 6 weeks. I think it's 6 weeks, right? So yeah, that's you know,
First.
go there and quiet down the Etihad, and
It's actually 4 weeks from now. Yeah.
yeah. So why not? Yeah, why not? It's all up to us, right? It's they don't have to. They can talk all they want. They have won 4 in a row. You know, we got to start shutting up everybody actually. So it's on us.
Yeah.
This is what we wanted, right? We wanted this. So
David Raya, Alonso, David Raya, Saliba, Gabriel Magalhaes, Odegaard, Declan Rice. They made the team. So 5 of the 11, the most amount of players, more than City, more than Liverpool, more than Aston Villa.
Yeah, you know, we are. I don't try it, pal. Right. So yeah, it kind of shows you like we always talk about the levels on this show, and you know, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, we weren't talking about how many Arsenal players were going to be on the team of the year. So we've gotten a lot. We've gotten our Arsenal players to buy in to what Arteta is asking of them, and to have a team, a club representing 5 players or 5 players representing Arsenal is pretty cool. Rice, for example, came in last year as someone that he didn't know how he was going to fit in or how much he was going to produce, and he came in the first year like he walked in like just the other player on the team. And then you talk about Gabriel Magalhaes, how Saliba and both complement each other as far as I think them making each other better. And then Odegaard, his work has spoken for itself. So we're slowly getting to a point now where we're just one of the best, if not one of the best teams in the league, next to City. And it shows how far we've gotten as a team. Having 5 players in the team of the year, and Raya as well. Raya, we all questioned that move, but at the end of the day, it worked out. And so yeah, very proud of them all, and the way they conduct themselves off the pitch as well. They're just a classic group of guys, and they're only going to get better.
Yeah, definitely. Tony.
Yes, right.
5 nominees. 5 nominees from Arsenal. And this is probably one of the best awards to get because you're being nominated by your fellow professionals.
Yeah. We've spent the money to build this squad, especially with Rice. Rice needs a real number. 41 does not count. Here you're 110 million pound signing and just still wear 41. Weird.
Listen, it must have some significance to him.
He's always had that number, Tony. It's a number that he's always had is 41, and he asked specifically to keep the same. He asked specifically for that number.
And no, Tony.
That's why I said that. It's just weird.
He's not 41 years old either, Tony.
Could be.
Tony will take him at the back and just shoot him. Put him out of his misery, right, Tony? D Dubs is
Maybe-
back. I remember D Dubs.
Maybe he'll hit.
Bring
maybe
on
he'll
Villa.
hit the 8, a couple of zeros, 8, 1, 3, 5. Put the calculator up.
The Riddler. I'm just going to start calling him the Riddler. What does that mean?
He just said I
He
was
doesn't
doing
know what it
big-
means.
He just said I was doing babies on the calculator.
Why are you
That's
asking
it.
him what he just said? He didn't know what he just said.
Yeah. All right. But Stan, you're there. You're receiving the awards, the PFA awards. David Raya. I mean, we all wanted Bukayo Saka to get in there, right? But they
Who
went
were
with
the names
Haaland. They
that got
went
it
with
again?
Foden,
Who was it? From us, who got it?
Foden and Watkins and Haaland up front.
No, but who from our team was selected?
Oh, David Raya, Saliba, Gabriel Magalhaes, Reis, and Odegaard.
So what are these nominations, or have they actually won something?
I mean, they're awards where your fellow
They
professionals,
won something. They won something.
Okay, they won
individual,
something, okay.
individual awards.
see,
Yeah,
My words, we've got a lot of good players at Arsenal. I mean, our two centre backs, I think, are the best that's out there as a collective that work together. But if we don't win anything soon, if they're not lifting trophies, meaningful trophies soon, I don't want them to think, well, maybe those 2 seasons we finished second, maybe that's the best that we can get at this place, and we're open to listening to going somewhere else. Because these are players, and I'm just using those 2 as an example, and there are more, but those 2 are players that are people beginning to take notice of them. And people are already looking at when their contracts are finishing and when they can think they can start making cheeky bids for them. I guarantee you, Saliba and Gabriel Megalegs, so we need to keep them happy. And footballers are happy when they're winning things, right? That's when they don't mind turning down offers to stay where they are, because they're thinking, well, if it ain't broke, why am I trying to fix it? We're on something here. So we need to start showing these players very soon that is the case.
Yeah, if you're going to a club, you want to have the feeling that you have an ability to win some trophies during your time there. That's what it's all about. And listen, we will always say winning a trophy is a successful season. So you win a trophy, it's a successful season. Also want to state, like, we have to enjoy this time now, Arsenal. We are one of the best teams in the league, have been for the last 2 years. And now we are absolutely at the point where we have to start turning that domination of sorts into trophies and silverware. Because that's what Arsenal, that's what we demand. We're looking at Man United, we're looking at Chelsea, and we're saying what a mess they're in. And that was us 6-7 years ago. And we've come a long way. It's taken a number of windows to take out the bad stuff and bring in some good stuff. I was going to say take out the trash, but that was hard.
May I just say as well that if we can sit here on a podcast and week after week we can discuss where we think that we're still weak, and we hope that certain areas are going to come in the transfer window.
Yeah,
you would think that players on the inside know exactly the same thing. And if the window comes and closes and you see that you haven't strengthened where you need to, and then come the end of the season, you fall short, and instead of finishing second, you finish in third, maybe players will start to think, well, maybe they're not going to invest anymore, if they've only got another 60 or 70 million for the next window and we only finish third. You start listening to other offers, right? Because then you start feeling that you're not competitive. So if we're sitting here thinking that, and if the window shuts and we don't bring anyone else in, personally, I think that we haven't done enough. Then maybe players would feel the same way as well, right?
Yeah, definitely. And players know in the dressing room, if you've strengthened correctly, you brought in the right players, you've made the right move. If the club has made the right move. Retro Rewind TV says, I don't know if you're a regular viewer, but you will. If you are a regular viewer, you'll know I'm very kind to Liverpool each and every week.
See the color, you see the red that he's got on, people.
I'm almost embargoed. I'm almost embargoed by the other 5 panel members here.
This is all
not to
you.
ever say
Don't blame
Liverpool.
us for your love of
Retro.
Well,
There are
was
times when I
the
think
only
I'm on
slot
retro. There
also.
are times when I think that I'm on a podcast called Liverpool Fan Circle. That's what it's like. Is
It's Liverpool fan circle.
it's the old bait and
Right.
switch, Stan.
Well, look,
Sorry,
Liverpool,
sign.
Liverpool have
When you walked in, you walk out, you don't realize it's a Liverpool sign. You're like, what?
Liverpool have
Right.
not been run badly like Man United have, like Chelsea have. So I can't speak about Liverpool in terms of they've been poorly
If
run.
you pull your shirt up over your head, you could just like blend in the Gary's wall back there.
No, I'm Arsenal through and through, but as Gary and Alonso, Tony, Stan, and Lawrence know, I liken Liverpool to what Arsenal needed to do, and we've done those things over the last 3, 4, 5 years. So much so, I would say, and here we go. If you're a Liverpool fan, we got our player over the line from Real Sociedad, and you didn't. So there you go. And some may believe, some will not believe until the shirt is held up high and the contract signed. But we tried to get Martin Zubimendi a few seasons, and that's a player who was not willing to move. Mikel Merino was ready, willing, and able. His bags were packed, and it was just a matter of time, Lawrence. Just a matter of time, I told you.
Just a fucking month, right? Just a month.
Just a month, and we're going to have to do something quick now for a forward of some sort. You know what I mean? All right, so let's move on to...
we need 2 forwards, don't we? Right?
Well, could always take 2, right? Let's move on to Aston Villa.
Just something before you forget. I
Yeah.
know you mentioned
Okay.
you mentioned Saka,
So
but
it's Aston Villa fan circle.
Hold on, yeah.
you mentioned Saka.
Yeah.
But we forgot about White. White definitely should have
Ben
been
White.
a player. That should have been one. I don't think Walker was better than him this past season. I mean, I don't think.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
if
that was
so
definitely
if there was a player that
Man City
did the
representation.
best, was pretty good at his
he
job,
did win a lot of stuff though.
and
Huh?
He won
I
everything, didn't
think
he?
5.
he didn't
I
win
think
everything.
5.
Who won everything?
I think 5's enough. You don't need 7 players on there.
No, but it's about the best players in the league, right? It has nothing to do about there's no quota in having the best players in the league all in one squad. I've never heard that before. No, you can't have 6 because you got 5 already. There's no quota. What are you doing, Tony?
Do you think some of his
That's like
Ben White's
saying,
fellow players-
you guys won 4 trophies this year. No, we're gonna have to take 2 back because you know what? The quota is 2. So pick 2 of the 4 trophies you got, and we'll give the other 2 to somebody else. What? No. It's a challenge out there. You do your job and you get rewarded for it. I think White actually did that this past season. Saka could have been one of the 3 up top. I don't think they could have gone wrong with any of the picks that they put out there. Everybody has a justification for getting out there, so Saka could have been out there as well. Maybe he's pretty much been successful in a lot of things that he did. Maybe that will drive him to do better this time around. So there's no question, right?
So let's no, you bring up a good point, Gary. Yeah.
And I wonder if Ben White got overlooked because some of his fellow professionals, in their view, didn't like the way that he snubbed England.
Yeah.
A lot of people were quite vocal about that, so maybe that could have played a part in their thinking as
The
well.
other
Right?
thing, Stan, could be like Des Walker, not Des Walker. I always say this, Kyle Walker. I always say Des Walker. Kyle Walker, he's got a little bit of a bastard in him. Do you know what I mean? Does Ben White need to be like
go
that
somewhere else?
more?
Well, he does have Ben White does have some house shittery going on.
Yeah.
So
Shithousery. But is
he
willing to get involved in the nasty stuff? Like
I think so.
Gets
you don't think he did a good job? What you think he didn't do? He needs to do something different than what he did last year.
I'm just trying to understand.
What are there like scenarios you can think of where if he was a little bit rougher, tougher, he would have done better here or there? I mean, they went up our left side all the time. Why is that? right? There's nothing.
I agree.
I
They
mean,
can't go up. They can't go up his side much, right? It's not much fun on that side of the pitch, right?
I'm just trying to wonder why they voted, and Stan's comment or point is well taken. It could be because of England, but also it could be because of the will to win. Maybe Kyle Walker's
come
got
on,
that.
listen. We've seen the pictures. We've seen the photographs. He starts his shithousery in the tunnel with the stare down. We've seen the pictures. As soon as I come out of the changing room and the other team's there, he starts. So I don't think it's anything to do with that. When it comes to shithousery, I think he's fully stacked, is Benjamin White.
So do you think this is a little bit of a representation for Man City, more of a representation for Man City? They won the league, so we have to pump their numbers a little bit. And of course, it is a voting system from fellow professionals, so it is what it is. It's not like any one committee got together. The votes came in, and this is what the votes came down as. And maybe it is Ben White snubbing England as well.
Or the fact that he doesn't really like or watch football.
We know that's not true, so we can get off of that one. We're actually
maybe
fans of
they're
Ben White.
jealous.
Ben White knows his football. Unless you're telling me what you see on the pitch is somebody who doesn't know anything about football.
That's not what I said.
You say he doesn't watch
Maybe
it, but he obviously watches enough. He's doing all right.
Maybe his fellow pros are just jealous that he's able to maintain a decent tan all year round.
True.
He does.
Goes in that spray booth every Thursday night before the Thursday night forum.
Maybe him and Arteta, and a dude go private.
He probably listens to us while he's in there.
And maybe they go to Dubai by themselves.
What's that, Tony?
I said maybe Edu and Arteta go on weekends with Ben White to Dubai.
Gary wonders why I give him every chance.
You just
keep to the people that are listening in and watching. You can put captions on, I believe, on YouTube. So you might want to help.
CC is available. Turn to the vape setting right now. The vape CC.
There's a Tony setting. Yes, there's a Tony setting. There's like 4 settings, and the 5th one is Tony.
It's a pity the wrestling show's not on anymore, because we could actually ask Tony how stoned are you now, but that segment was in the wrestling show, and we don't do that anymore, so we won't be asking that question. Sorry, Ray.
Unless he would volunteer that information, I'm not going to.
No, we don't need
volunteer.
We don't need it.
Not stoned at all.
That was the first.
Tiger and Gunner,
Really
listen, I think the award is voted. The award is from your fellow professionals, so I do believe it means something. But I also get what you're saying as well. It doesn't mean very much. It's about a team game. It's about a team going out on Saturday and avenging what happened last season against Aston Villa. So let's get into Aston Villa now.
And the season before.
The Arsenal hunger has to be there. That should be hurting from the PFA awards and Rodri saying those things. The Arsenal should have that hunger on Saturday. The Arsenal should feel about what happened last season in both fixtures, Gary. A 2-0 defeat at the Emirates, all but sealing our fate, because we knew at the time basically Man City would not falter. And of course, the corresponding game last season, losing 1-0 to an early goal from McGinn. But we were not without our chances in that game, I remember.
Yep, and that's the story of our. That's been the story of our demise last season. Many a game we did not put the ball in the net more than we needed, and when we needed to. You take probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 goals that that we had scored, we win the league. All right, Fulham doesn't take 2 points away from us. All right, pick the next Fulham and the next and the Villa games. There's
Yeah.
another 1 to 3 points there. So
It's 11
that's
points.
a
right there.
difference in the league. So we they got us, but hopefully we've learned from that. Got to win every game. That's it. Got to try to win every game.
When you think about it, and you've mentioned the Fulham game last season, you mentioned the Villa game, you compile all those points together. We left 11 points on the table somewhere. Between
Newcastle, we didn't. There's at least a point there we could have got.
Yeah, you forgot to mention the Tottenham game at the Emirates.
Sure.
When
Yeah.
Jorginho laid the ball off to Heung-min Son for that second goal.
Oh, come on.
Those games we threw points away in were just were of our own fault.
Yeah.
And I still say if we had a more positive attitude at Manchester City, then who knows what would have happened. We'd have probably picked them to the title.
Yeah, when you lose by 2 points, you're looking for any points anywhere that you've dropped, and you can pick and choose where those points
It was
were.
like the season before, wasn't it? I was ruining that Brentford decision was in my fucking head for the whole season.
The
Remember?
offside.
Yeah.
You pick something, don't you? I was fixated on that.
Yeah. Yeah. And definitely.
I mean, for me,
we all remember
last season, the result at Newcastle, where everyone knew that ball was out of play.
Yeah.
Before Joe Willett crossed it into the box, and how three officials and a VAR could not see that. I have no idea.
Yep. Hopefully VAR is used in a much more efficient way this season and semi-automated. I know, we can hope. It's the hope that kills you.
I know you keep hoping for that. Like, they didn't even give us a chance. The first game of the season, you could already see nothing's changed.
It's not semi-automated, Ray. It's 12 iPhones pointed.
But that's not going to come in until next
October.
month.
Yeah, probably end of September, October.
That doesn't make any sense. The season started already. What is up with this? It's like going. You know what? We got these new rule changes, but they don't get implemented until October 3rd. What?
Yeah.
So we're going to change all the rules. So the first 2 months of the season, you're going to play one way, and the rest of the season, you're going to play a different way. It makes this like the dumbest thing ever. You had a lot of time to implement this process and steps. I mean, come on. There's like billions of dollars being passed around the world in football. They can't get this done sooner. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I think changing. They can't even do what they need to do on a regular basis. Now we're going to change it in the middle of a season. Come on,
Tony.
At this point, I don't know what offside is anymore because they always say, "Oh, you can't use a non-scoring part of your body." But they do it all the time. It's like, oh, his hands are crossed. It's stupid.
Yeah. Moss has joined us. Must beat Emery's Villa. Listen, I think it's Arsenal playing Villa, and I think too many times we get drawn into the Arteta versus Unai Emery discussion.
Like I said last week, Ray.
Yeah.
If we give Villa as much space as West Ham did last week in that first half, we're done for.
Yeah.
I mean, Villa should have been 4-0 up in that first half. So,
and we can't score and put a handbrake on like we like to do either.
We have a situation at left back. Of course, we're going to talk about left back now. Will Timber be ready to go?
You have no choice.
A full game.
You have no choice. He has to play. We can't
It
do
would
this
be
anymore.
madness.
That has to be Zinchenko's last start in a meaningful game, and this is a meaningful game.
Yeah.
All right, these first 5 games of the season
are actually.
Well, here's what I would like to do, and we know Timber may not be able to do 90 minutes, but if we start with Timber and knowing that he's going to be one of the likely substitutes, hopefully we get into a position where we're a goal up or 2 goals up, and then we can bring Calafiori in and start to bed him in a little bit into the season. I don't think Timber's going to last a full 90 minutes, and that's the danger where he may, or he could start with Timber and bring Zinchenko in to finish the game. But I think,
Oh, please don't.
No, come, dude. Come on. Ray, what are you doing?
Gary, a lot of this, it's not me making the
You're
decision.
trying to hold on to a 2-1 lead. You bring on Zinchenko?
Mm-mm.
It will be relative to the fitness of the players.
No. But Ray, listen to the logic. You are trying to hold on to a 2-1 lead, similar to like when you were in Anfield, right? Should we replace Zinchenko, who's getting beat, or should we wait?
Weaken our defense?
Should we wait and leave him in there, and then he gives up the game tying goal? Oh wait, now we bring on Carrior. We've seen this drama played out
We're
multiple
into our
ways.
3rd year of this, Gary. Arteta likes fucking Zinchenko. If he's available, there's a high chance he's in play.
I don't know. The guy.
Don't like it.
The guy spits in his face, and Arteta's like, it's raining.
We don't like it.
It's like, what's going on?
Well, look, we don't like it, but that's what may actually happen. And I hope it's. I'm wrong, Gary. Hope I'm wrong. I hope that Jurrien Timber can play 50, 55, 60 minutes, and then Calafiori can come on. And that's what I want to see happen. Calafiori coming on to seal the game, finish it, close it out. Stan, you're thinking.
I'm going to play my devil's advocate card. I haven't for the first time this season.
Yeah, go ahead.
And for me, with Jurrien Timber, he's come to us as a centre back that can play at right back in those 2 positions. He's not played as a left back, as I understand it. He may have had an odd game there to cover for someone. And so Mikel Arteta has decided that this right-footed player, I believe he's right-footed, right, is going to play at left back. And we've had a very, very, very small sample size. Mm-hmm. Yes, in that small sample size, he's looked pretty bright. But I mean, I can remember a time when we experimented one time and we played Xhaka at left back, and he had a good game in the first game, and everyone's like, "Oh, this could be a new thing." And we played him again in the next game when he was dog shit. And we realized that it was a mistake. So for me,
did we those stand?
Tony, hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. So for me, right, I've not had a real sample size of Timber playing at left back. So I don't know whether that's a position that is really his or not. I mean, am I to believe that a guy that's not really played that position that often is better than, say, a Kivior, who's left-footed and has had a little bit more experience, or a Calafiori? Or even, to a certain extent, I'd go with Zinchenko. Because Zinchenko has played in that position quite a lot. So I'm hoping that it works out, because he does look like a talent. But we're going to find out, unfortunately, when points are at stake. Because he's fit to play now. And it's either going to be a masterstroke, and this guy is really good at left back. And it was, it's a wonder why no one ever played him there before. Or after a few games, when we see a proper sample, a little bit like Tavares. When Tavares came in, you know what players like? They're all full of piss and vinegar. They're just excited to be there. Sometimes they play their best games, and then eventually they get to a bit of a plateau.
Yeah,
where they're starting to settle in, and that excitement and that energy has dissipated a little bit. So I'm interested to see what happens with Jurrien Timber, because there is nothing that has told me yet that he can nail down that position and has the experience or the technical ability to play that position with the right foot.
Tony, you had a retort way back.
I'll go with Stan saying here, notwithstanding the fact of our elimination game for Europa, that I kind of put Xhaka back at left back. And we fucking lost.
He took that crayon out of the box, Alonso. He took it out.
Yeah.
Kind of handy.
Back
this
to the
week, though.
future.
We really need to start playing bingo. Tony mentions the Bayern Munich second leg game.
But he's right.
Hey,
Please don't.
So I mean, I'm not trying to piss on everybody's parade, but I'm not. I've got my fingers crossed that this is a good move, but I've
Right.
not had enough evidence yet to tell me
Here's what
that.
I'd say.
Oh yeah, this guy is nailing down that position.
Here's what I'd say, Stan. Tomiyasu was a right-footed player, and we played him a left back against Mo Salah, and that worked pretty well. You know what I mean? So I think if Jurgen Timber has come from Holland and Ajax, where I think a lot of players are really good on their weaker foot as well. So, and it is a small sample size from Jurgen Timber. He is definitely like a new signing as well.
Oh yeah,
and-
very much so.
We didn't see him at all last season, but for me, that
and
would
we
be
went
the left.
about 15. We went about 15 years without a left-footed center back as well.
True. The problem is not Zinchenko; it's the system. Timber and Zinchenko are inverted wingbacks. Here we go. It's the role that's the problem. I think it's stupid overloading in midfield, weakening our defense in a big game. Yeah. And
Yeah,
listen,
yeah.
Aston Villa.
sure.
Aston Villa away from home is the next big test for Arsenal, and it's always about the next game. I actually I grow tired of what are we going to get in the next 5 games? Well, it's not about the next 5 games; it's about the next game and getting 3 points each and every time. I learned that last season. It was drilled into me. So listen, this is what good teams do. They go to Aston Villa and they get 3 points, irrespective of how they play. They grind out a win. If they play badly, they grind out a win. If they play well, they crush the opposition. And Unai Emery's tactics, notwithstanding, will be a factor on Saturday as well. Timber looks like a Swiss Army knife. He can slide into like 5 or 6 positions from BX Gunner as well. Is Zinchenko the new Granit Xhaka in terms of being wide in that left back? No, just that it's not the best position for him, Alonso. Zinchenko, and we did the same thing for Granit Xhaka.
Right, but he's been there too many times and he's cost us games. And if you look at the game on Saturday, he was always out of position, playing in Partey's role, and it just gets really old and really frustrating. Because, from what Tony had said before, he always plays as he could play the left 8. But Arteta won't play him there, so we're stuck with him at the left back position. But he's all over the place. Like, he doesn't understand that he has to stay at left back, and unless told otherwise. And that's where I think you leave Megalesh all alone on an island by himself, trying to defend the right wing, and it's very frustrating because as a footballer he can be very good at moving forward, right? But it's the defense that I think worries me, and that's why against Villa he shouldn't start, at least even play. So whenever fans try to somehow find a way that he's a good at certain areas, he's horrible defensively. Moving forward, yeah, he's okay. He's decent, but that's not the role he's supposed to be playing. He's supposed to be playing at left back.
Yeah.
And unless there's a proper left back there, there's no way defensively he gets stuck out and he doesn't win enough games for us. He costs us games.
Yeah, definitely. As Rule said he wouldn't be surprised if Arteta starts Zinchenko as a left back. And that would be, I hope, due to the reason being injury or availability. But I think, Rule, that we need to mitigate against disaster and risk. And the mitigation needs to be Zinchenko not starting and Timber starting even if we only get about 30,
Well,
30 or
why
40
why
minutes.
do a question mark? Just put Kivior out there. You know what he's gonna do. He'll be fine. He's a
Kivior,
defender.
Kivior is one of those players that could get sold this window as well, Tony. Timber has now twice left us
All right.
in both appearances.
All right,
For
now
me,
he's part of ourselves.
He does bring that X factor. Yeah, BX, and we need to see maybe 5, 6, 7 games. He's had a few games now with Arsenal. He's looked good, Yuri and Timber has. But, yeah, there is that Tavares effect that we need to be aware of as well with Yuri and Timber.
I
learned that lesson.
Oh, no. Stan, get your pen out. You're comparing Timber to Tavares.
They have the same.
Is that what you're doing? Ray.
It starts with T.
You are comparing Timber to Tavares. Are you seriously doing that?
Only in the sense of
No. There's no sense in it. There's no sense in what you're about to say.
Fair, Gary, fair. That was an easy one.
I know
You got me.
You threw it for softball. I'm like, come on.
Stan, put me on the list, Stan.
I wish you were right about that, but you are not even close. I think Timber comes in with a better CV in terms of the talent level that he brings.
I agree.
So
Gary.
the Ajax club prepares their players pretty well. So I don't think that's what we're lacking. It's more the injury concerns and whether he's ready to play. That's it. That's the only thing really I think holding him back right now.
Yeah, I agree. I think it'll be Timber as well. And the comparison with Tavares, bad, very bad, Ray, very bad. Okay, so
Tavares was a wing back though.
Doesn't matter. He's comparing.
did you hear that, Alonso?
He put them in the same sentence, Tony. That's
Tony,
the problem. Doesn't matter. Doesn't even matter what style of player they are. They play in what Arteta considers his left fullback, left back role, whatever you want to call it, right? So yeah.
Gary with the save.
Point
blank. It was a point blank save. Lawrence.
Right, Tony's starting to wear off on you now.
I'm impervious to Tony. Tony can't get to me.
We don't play.
Seemed like somebody slipped one past the goalkeeper there.
Ray's out 5 us off of his Blarney still.
Yeah.
We don't play wing backs no more, Tony.
We don't play.
Yeah, we do. What do you think Zinchenko is?
Alonso, don't poke the bear. Remember?
What do you think Zinchenko is? Whether you're inverted or going out to the, it doesn't matter. You're going up for pitch.
Tony,
Tony, he doesn't play left back. He doesn't play midfields. He doesn't play nothing.
Get your exercise, Reggie.
Tell Arteta that. Don't get mad at me.
Retro Rewind TV said, I'd take a draw against Villa away, to be honest. It wasn't the draws that cost us last year. It was the 2 Fulham losses.
It's the draw against Fulham.
West Ham.
You don't draw against Fulham. That's 2 points.
Yep.
So the draw did kill us.
Well, if you don't lose twice to the team we're playing this weekend,
listen,
then that's 6 points.
The only way to beat this Man City team is to actually build up ahead of steam and get win after win after win, make them drop points because of the stress you're putting them under. The only way really to beat this team is to beat them from the lead, go out into a lead, and that includes beating Aston Villa. Our record, the season before last, our record against Aston Villa, we beat them twice. We had the 4-2 win at Aston Villa at Villa Park, and a 2-1 win at home as well. Zinchenko is the only player out there being asked to play 2 positions at the same time, left back and a second CDM beside Partey. For me,
I don't think him getting. The only reason why I would take that is if he was always late getting back, but he's getting beat man to man, and that for me is where he's getting beat. Like when it's 1-on-1, he's getting beat. So I get the going back and forth, but he's always getting beat 1-on-1. It's never he was late on his rotation. It's 1-on-1. He's never able to make the right play. Puts himself in bad situations and gets beat. So that's for me. That's what I see.
There's I think 16 or 17 you watch, and if you never really asked for likes, but hit the like button while you're here. Really would appreciate that. It would make Tony happy if we get 12 likes, right, Tony?
Yeah. Stand as a carrot, their likes or dislikes. Still counts.
It's measured as an interaction. That's how it's measured.
Yeah. Good news today, says Bargoff today. Merino, YouTube headlines will stop. So yeah, there are YouTubers out there who will put out sensationalist headlines about our transfer dealings. We just like to come in here and try and speak our facts and what we feel is correct and what's going to happen. Hoping Arsenal will come to their senses and grab Ivan Toney. Listen,
would you like to hear a fun fact about Ivan Toney?
Yeah,
Ivan Toney's name. His full name is Ivan Benjamin Elijah Toney, and if you take each one of those letters, it spells "I bet." True.
Is that for real?
So it's not necessarily just a problem. It's just he's just born that way, you know.
Just born that way.
Ivan Benjamin Elijah Toney. I bet.
Oh God. There you go. God.
It's written in the stars.
That's horrible. Written in the stars. Yeah.
It drives me nuts, these people that have 6 fucking names or even more. It's just like, what's wrong with
He's only got 4. So
yeah. You can give him 2 more if you want, Tony. All right, so Merino coming in. That's really good for Arsenal. Too soon to start at Villa Park, right? So we'll probably continue with Thomas Partey, Rice, and Odegaard in midfield.
Well, listen, if we go, we take that lineup. I really hope that Mikel Arteta isn't. You remember when he used to get fixated about the Manchester City fixtures, and he would do something silly.
Yeah,
try to be cute. He'd been thinking about it for too long. I really hope he's not having that problem with Aston Villa, and he allows us to go and do our thing. Play our game and not try to be cute and change something around, and then we're panicking because it doesn't work, and we're on the back foot, and then we've got to try and revert.
Well, we haven't seen that, right, Stan? I think that might be part of the maturation of the manager. 4 or 5 seasons.
Unai Emery, the one thing that Unai, like him or not, whether you liked him as our manager or not, or whatever your thoughts are about him, the one thing that he does have over Mikel Arteta, he has a lot of experience, a lot more experience. He has that in his locker, and the team that we're going to be facing is a very different beast to the one that we faced last season because they've signed like 14 players. 4 of those are on loan, I believe. They've signed a lot of players, man. They've spent like 100. Is that
a good thing or a bad thing early in the season? They may.
Well, I don't know what their preseason was like, but I mean, what I'm saying is, it's going to be very difficult to go back and watch the videos and stuff because we don't know who we're going to be facing. We don't know whether the tactics are going to be the same because of he's freshened up the team. Maybe he changes the tactics along with that. And I know it's probably not a popular opinion, but I liked Unai Emery. I wanted to give him more time. The language problem notwithstanding, I quite thought that he had maybe a little bit more to offer, but it was clear from day one that he didn't have the backing of the club. You ask for a player that plays on one side and they deliver you a player that plays on the other side. I mean, that's not a good recipe for a good relationship.
The language thing is just bullshit because he had enough Spanish people.
Well, it showed he lost the locker room. It showed he lost the locker room when your players are making jokes about the way you speak. That's the part. So you lose your locker room.
Yeah.
Your players are making funny. They don't respect you. You can't keep the locker room the way it needs to be in terms of who's the boss there. Emery's the boss, but he was probably let down by the entire system.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
that,
You've
that
been,
time we
you've
had
been
like a
ridiculed
six
by
back.
your own team, man. I mean, and it's coming out on social media. I mean, you're done, ain't you? You're done.
it's the kind of thing we read about Manchester United in the recent couple of seasons as well. Now that happening um, at Man United with Ten Hag, I believe it was.
That's
Um,
like when we had a six
Those players are gone now.
shit bag 12 if we had back then.
Those players have gone now. That was one of the
Yeah.
first things that Mikel Arteta did.
And the one thing I never really liked is the head coach mentality. So that means you have a coach who's detailed to coach the players, but the club will actually go and target who's going to come into the club. The club buy the players, and the coach has. Well, this is what we got you. You have to fashion this into a team. Whereas with a manager, Arteta became a manager quite early in his tenure at Arsenal. He's got a lot more say in the players that the club will identify, and I believe we've benefited.
Still took a year, right?
Benefited.
No, we
You
missed
froze there a
missed-
little bit, Ray, for a few seconds.
All right, I think ever since Arteta had this tenure to go and identify those players, him and Edu have formed a formidable partnership in identifying the correct players. And we've benefited from that over the last 2-3 seasons, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Unai Emery never had that backing from the club. We talked about Raheem Sterling possibly coming to Arsenal. Well, we don't want to go back to that way of bringing in experienced players who come into the end of their careers and may not have the motivation that we see in this Arsenal team
Here's your
right
fluffy
now.
dressing gown and here's your fluffy slippers. Just take a seat by the spa.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? This is nice.
Jog on,
Look,
right?
Would we know who Saka is without Emery?
You want to go back to something that doesn't matter anymore?
Saka would have come through in any situation, right?
Doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
Are you sure, Ray?
Here we go again. Rather have Arteta having a rough meeting is suspicious.
That's like almost saying, you know
Rough
what?
meeting.
Would Dennis Bergkamp actually, responded and actually, turned his form around when he came to Arsenal? We don't know, but guess what? He did. All right.
In the end, class always comes through. If you're good enough, it always shows through in the end. And Bergkamp had that.
It does.
Where BX Gunner said, we're too much for Villa, man for man, and we need to lay down the marker. Definitely. I think we're going to come hungry on Saturday. Now, it is a Saturday evening kickoff, which generally in previous years, Arsenal had not been up for these things. But the crowd will be behind Villa. It will be a hostile atmosphere for the Arsenal team to overcome. But that's one thing we have to do. Arteta has had the luxury of building from the ground up. Yeah, because we've seen what it looked like, BX. We've seen what it looked like with experienced players who've been there before. They don't have that hunger. Do you guys think Merino starts versus Villa? It's going to be too soon for him. He will not start versus Villa.
He's not signed. 2, he would have to have been registered by noon yesterday.
Yep.
Which is the deadline. So.
And 3?
No.
And 3, Tony said no.
There's an international break coming up quite soon. I don't think we'll see him play for Arsenal till after that.
Okay. Yeah, because Sterling
Arsenal break. Come on, Marge. Tell everybody how we need to go back to 2 international breaks.
Yeah. Hasn't had his medical yet. I'd take Sterling on loan for the season. He'd hit the ground running.
You say his name and he disappears.
Lawrence, you all right?
Yeah, I'm fine. Just having problems with my phone. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
think even if the fact that he's, like you said, doing a physical tomorrow, he's not ready. He doesn't even know what Arteta wants to do.
Right.
Not see a player come in off the street and play that fast ever. So
I remember, Gary, you remember Declan Rice saying there was quite a lot to learn when he came last season. Declan Rice was surprised by the amount of stuff that
You
Mikel
turn
Arteta
up,
sent
have your pictures taken, get all of your tracksuit and kit issued, and then you get handed this fucking folder that's like the size of 2 telephone directories, and you're like, right, learn all that by Saturday. You're like, huh?
Then you can come. Then you can play.
Yeah.
There will be questions. Santiago. We should try for Santiago Jimenez from Feyenoord. I know
what is he, a striker? Wing? What is he?
I think
That's
the
like
Forest.
when
Not
that's
the
like
Forest.
when Emery came in.
Right?
It's like when Emery came in and he had a folder about like each player, like a dossier on each player.
Yeah, Unai Emery is good with that as well. I believe Santiago Jimenez was a player that Nottingham Forest have been looking at, but it now looks like they're going to go for Eddie Nketiah.
And if he's playing in the Dutch league, then he has to go to see Man United. That's the rules right now. If you play in the Dutch league, you have to sign in England for Man United. Otherwise, no.
Ten Hag.
The Ten Hag rule.
Yeah. Mexican striker from Feyenoord. I believe I believe Nottingham Forest were looking at him as well. But there might have been some part of that deal they didn't like, so they're going to go with Eddie. Jimenez is starting striker from Mexico and Feyenoord.
He ain't bad.
He ain't bad.
I have a friend of mine who supports Feyenoord. He's from Rotterdam, and he was telling me how good he is as a main striker. So yeah, he's got talent, and he's also led the line for Mexico. So he's some things up his locker, as they say. So I would not mind Ivan Toney and or a Santiago Jimenez.
Two games played, 2 goals and an assist already. So
yeah,
not bad. Bargab wonders why we didn't go for the other Timber, the brother.
I would have loved us to buy the other Timber because we could have done like, in WWE with the Bella Twins, we could have done like the Bella Twin switch substitutions, and no one knows that we've switched them. Do you know what I mean? But one to think about.
That's when the player runs off the pitch.
This is your Brentford moment now. This is your this season. Why did we buy the other Timber?
That's when they run off the pitch.
He gets kicked in the shin. He goes rolling off the pitch down the tunnel, and then the other one comes running out, holding his leg, and it's the other one. Then it's good to go. Do you know what I mean? We get extra substitution. Worth thinking about.
Timber bundles into the bench. There's a lot of commotion here. Players all over the place. All right, he's up. All right, unscathed.
Yeah, he's under the bench. I've done a switcheroo. Changed tops.
Do you think VAR would catch that?
He's okay, everyone.
No, VAR would not catch that. Who goes Bella Twins comparison is crazy.
Hey, Stan would have said, "Oh,
yeah." Edu's Bargosh said Edu's 1 week of work must be nice. Contrary to popular belief, Edu works 11 months out of the year getting these things together. You wouldn't know it, right? It happens.
Yeah.
For sure.
He has Brazilian barbecue for every meal.
Lauren.
I still got to say, the way that Arsenal conducts itself in both the summer and transfer windows leaves a lot to be desired. Yeah. I'm sorry. It's just nonsense that you take over 50 days to sign a player. And you've got other clubs signing 5 and 6 players in the same time span.
What?
It's not. It's just crap. It's just typical of the laziness at the club that in the transfer negotiation department.
Listen, I don't think it's laziness. I think some of these deals are complicated, Lawrence. These deals.
I don't think that's what it is, Ray. It's
every year, Ray. It's every year.
It's
You know,
not
the
every
same
year.
bullshit. It is, Ray. It is.
Last year we
But-
had
but-
Declan Rice by July 5th.
All right.
We had
Yeah,
Havertz,
Havertz ready to
before
play. Yeah,
June.
Timber. They all start. 3 of our signings started the season. So
Yeah,
no,
look,
they can't
all
be.
right.
It
Last
can't
year
be
was
like
the
every
exception.
year, right?
All
It can't
right,
be every
last year
year.
was the exception, but every other
Oh, okay,
year,
there's
in
the exception,
recent
right, Lawrence?
history,
Okay.
Arsenal's dragged their heels in the transfer market, trying to get in players on the cheap. You know, and we
That
end up
was-
with shit.
Lawrence, you are right about that 5, 6, 7 years ago. You're right about that. But
Not that long ago, right?
ever since Arteta's come, we've been pretty diligent and quick in the market when it comes to summer. At least in the summer. The January window, it's been mixed. Well, at least in the summer, Mikel Arteta always wants to start preseason with players in-house. And there's numerous reasons why that happened.
Tyrannies of us fucking
Brownie.
stupidest one.
Brownie, you are listening to us live. If you're hearing the things you've heard before, that happens sometimes. Literally just logged on and I heard Broken Record Lawrence go on about Arsenal's transfer quality.
We spoke about that, Lawrence. Remember?
Listen, we all have our things, right? Tony's got his foibles. Lord knows I've got my stuff going on up here.
Lawrence has got a script, and something triggered it, and he went off. It's just like somebody said the wrong words. Oh, that's the 10th word that Stan said already, all in a row. All right, I gotta go. And then
I tried.
he's like,
Yeah,
let's
we all-
roll.
Yeah, we all have our teams.
Go ahead.
We all have our teams. I hate Zinchenko. I hate how Tony and Ray say about Odegaard. It's just a fun. It's a fun for show. It's a fun for show over here. So
definitely,
You know, the
I'm
ironic
glad you
thing,
guys are
Alonso, he speaks very highly of you. So
who's that?
I just said it's really ironic because Zinchenko actually speaks very highly of you.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sure he does.
He
He
is.
wishes you a happy birthday. He wishes you a happy birthday.
Man, you need to.
I'll be
We need
damned.
to add Zinchenko. Stan, we need to add Zinchenko and get him to wish Alonso a happy birthday. We need to.
Please do not. I'd rather have a boomerang do that for me.
Rose said they say Arsenal was speaking to Merino from November 2023. Tony, I hear your voice winding up. What have you got, Tony?
I was saying I'm just glad Alonso doesn't hate Gabriel anymore. See, that wasn't his fault. But
I don't hate my relation. I mean, I just
you
I just can't
did
stand-
for a while.
Only going back.
Okay, so going back in time, right, Tony? So I think that I didn't see the bigger picture, and I saw why he messed up all the time. It was Zinchenko.
There you go.
And there you go, Tony. I mean, Megalesh was never a good. He was never.
Tony?
I think he was more of a scapegoat than he was an actual good player because look who he had beside him for those years. He had Colonel Mustard. He had David Luiz. It's like, bro, you can't improve with those players. They're going to bring you down. And you finally get Saliba in, and he made him better, like world class better. So I think since Megalesh and Saliba make each other better, and finally Megalesh has finally had a partner he could depend on, So
Can I just say, for those of you that are listening for the first time, Colonel Mustard is AKA Squadron Mustafi.
Yes, indeed. Squadron Mustafi. And can I just say, you've heard Alonso admit that he was wrong. Something that Tony has never actually done. Right, Tony?
I thought I was wrong once, but I
Honey,
was
drink that
mistaken,
water.
right?
Drink that water if you were
Keep
wrong.
drinking.
He drank it. That's the only way he's gonna admit it. Just
You
there.
didn't pay 1 minute of attention to what I fucking said.
Even when Tony was found, huddled over the dead body, covered in the victim's blood, with a machete in his hand, it wasn't him.
It wasn't him. He denied it.
Wasn't me. Wasn't me.
Last season was an anomaly, Ray. It's gotten better, but we're still too slow at getting players in. We did it we've done it for many seasons.
A little different. We need specific players, and it sounds like also you have to take into effect that the teams that we dealt with, if you listen to some of the commentary about it, they weren't like simple things they were asking for, things that they shouldn't have been asking for, that caused it a little bit of an issue.
Blue M&Ms.
And you know what? We're a solid team. We just needed depth, right? Whether or not they become starters or not, it doesn't matter. So, we're not in a rush, and Arsenal has shown that, you know what, we can be patient now because we know exactly what we need. We can wait this thing out and get what we want. And obviously they're doing that. So they're doing it on both sides, right? They're selling and they're buying with patience. So
yeah. And now we are a good team. Quality players want to only come to us. Calafiori, as an example, only wanted to come to Arsenal. He wasn't going to talk to any other team in London. Merino only wanted to come to Arsenal. As Rule said, Merino's value was actually 50 million. It was probably a year ago, and a year left on his contract now has been important. Listen, we probably paid another 5 million just to get the deal done in the last 24 or 48 hours. We agreed to
the 5 mil that and that might be the 5 mil that we get if we get it from Nketiah's deal, right?
Yes.
So there you go.
So swings and roundabouts, right?
Yeah, there's something like, and if Arsenal wins the World Cup, you'll get another 2.5 million. Some sort of
yeah.
If we win, the Formula One at Hungary, you'll get another 500,000. There's some stupid stuff in there.
And also,
if you win the Super Bowl,
if you win a NASCAR race, you get maybe 200,000.
If he follows Lewis Hamilton on Twitter, he will get
Martin Truex Sr.
Just as long, Stan, as it's not Williams' appearance bonus. That thing was fucking real because there's no way that guy's gonna play for Arsenal. No way.
Now, come on, Brownie, be careful now. You have been making a lot of sense in recent podcasts, so I wanted you to continue in that mode, Brownie, but I think you might not have gotten enough sleep last night, Brownie. You just woke up in Australia, hungover, ready for a fight. Be honest, Ray. Only wanted to come to Arsenal was probably BS.
You should have seen him trying to get out of that kangaroo pouch.
With Arsenal.
As I understand it, though, there were a lot of
did a kangaroo punch you?
The manager and there were phone calls between the manager and the player.
Yeah.
So, and they're probably speaking in Spanish and all that, right? You know what I mean? But I do understand that there were other clubs that were wanting to bid for Mikel Merino, and he wasn't entertaining that. Same as Calafiori. They weren't entertaining that. And that's where Arsenal are at the moment now. People want to talk to you, you listen.
Arsenal is not in any rush to add players based on the team setup, but we do need squad revamp, and we need probably a forward to upgrade. The type of forward is going to be maybe someone who's going to be willing to be sitting on the bench. Probably could be a young.
You have to be willing to, but that's just part of the gig, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
come in and contribute.
Trossard comes in. We all think he has to sit on the bench, but he starts too. So I don't think you have to be willing to sit on the bench. I think it's just part of it. You're going to sit on the bench. It's just part of how it goes. You're going to have rotation, right?
Yeah.
If we Saka shouldn't have to play all 38 games, and he shouldn't miss games because he's injured. We should hopefully be able to sit him. You know what I mean? Yes, he can play all of them, but we don't want him to. Not if we're going to try to win all the trophies. I mean, it's just how everybody does it. Every team that we're striving to be like, they don't play even their stars 38 games in a season. They don't do it. So there's a reason for it.
Yeah, you're also forgetting that he played in every cup game.
He shouldn't have to play in every game. That's the key.
If you're a player
And-
playing in France or Spain or Italy, one of those kind of leagues, and Man City aren't coming in for you, but Arsenal are, the team that looks like they're going to be able to run Man City to the gauntlet, to the very end, that have finished twice, very close to Man City 2 seasons consecutively, you're going to listen. You're going to be interested, right? You'll be thinking to yourself, like, I could be joining the team that's just about to, take the crown. So we have that lot of weight behind us at the moment when it comes to speaking to players.
Yep. Yeah. And you look at City, and as good as they are, you feel defensively they're a little bit dodgy, suspect. If Haaland can be held in certain games, you can get a draw against them. You could beat them even, especially this side of Christmas. It can happen against City.
KDB and Gundogan, they're not the fastest, are they? They're getting on a bit with their legs, so they've got to manage that.
Mm-hmm. Is Fofana still in Monaco? I'm not sure about that one.
I thought he made the move, right? I mean, I thought, yeah.
So listen, we're going to talk about the forwards, but the defense and the midfield really should be something like this: David Raya in goal, Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel, Magalhaes, Timber, Partey, Reis, Odegaard. That should be the base of the team.
You never know. I think there's a lot of options. We never know. There's a question mark. It wouldn't surprise me if it was somebody else.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Have to believe that Timber has had that cameo.
Joined AC Milan. So
maybe he starts Calafiori. He's had some training now. He can play football. He knows how to play football. He's been in the Euros.
This is
playing at left back. He's not being asked to do anything special. He's being asked to do what he usually does. Maybe it could be time. We paid a lot of money for this guy, right? If you think about the money that we paid compared to that money that we spent on other defenders, isn't this the most expensive one? Cost more than Saliba, cost more than Megalegs, cost more than Ben White, I believe.
Yeah.
More than Tomiyasu, more than Timber, I think. So, I mean, you need to show them, the owners of the team who are writing the checks for you, that you're going to use the assets, right?
Yeah.
So you have to think of it in that way as well. You're the most expensive defender, and he's going to be on the bench. Oh.
Yeah. I think Ben White was the most because he was 40 until.
What's Calafiori? Like 40 million euros, 45 million euros?
Yeah, it was something like 40 million euros. Yeah, 42 maybe. 34 million.
That's the nice thing about this squad, right? We have a starting 11 that can win the league if they stay healthy for
5-side. We can win the 5-side as well.
But I play a basketball game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but we need more. We need more. Right? But think about it. We always need more, right? So here we go. This is us getting more.
Gary, give Tony a layup right there.
Yeah. Sorry, so, Tony.
Lay it to SmackDown.
Yeah, Tony, you're welcome. Doesn't even say thank you. Give him stuff. He doesn't even. He takes it and doesn't even say thank you. Not grateful at all. But all the things I give him, I give him knowledge.
Indeed.
I give him jokes. I give him layups, tap-ins. Man, still.
Raul was White was 50 million. Is that right? 50 million.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the most expensive, but Calafiori is still up there, right?
Yeah. He's like the second one.
Yeah.
But when he starts for us, he'll be. I think he's around the same price as Timber, though, right? Timbers are same thing, around 30.
Timber was about 35.
About 35. Okay.
Rule said Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal will not make major changes to the squad unless the players are exceptional. And you talk about Aston Villa bringing in 7 players. Well, they are not
14.
guaranteed.
Oh, you just did that. You're just saying that. Because Lawrence isn't here to chase you down. And
I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid.
You are afraid. That's why you brought it up now. Lawrence is not here. You're scared.
I'm not afeared. But listen, we only will bring players in that are going to raise the level of our squad. You lose Emile Smith Rowe, and as good as Emile Smith Rowe can be, I think his nemesis was injuries against him. That's the one thing he could not count on with Emile Smith Rowe. We talked about it, I think the last couple of weeks. If he had not had injuries, Emile Smith Rowe would probably be still part of the squad, and that was the thing
I
against
worry
him.
for Tommy Asu because he's similar, right? He's a player that can play in a few positions. He's useful. The manager shows that he has faith in him, but he can't keep himself fit. And if you're Tommy Asu, you're looking at Timber coming in, and you're thinking, okay, this guy plays in similar positions to me. Okay. But okay, maybe the squad was a bit thin. And then he got injured again. And then Calafiori comes in, you're like, okay, what the fuck? There's a pecking order. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, there is a pecking order. And if you're out and these new guys are getting minutes and they're impressing, now they're in the manager's mind. Oh, they're doing what I want them to do. Tommy Asu now gradually could slip down that pecking
And
order.
do you know
fault of his own. I like Tommy Asu, but the geezer seems to be made out of paper mache.
Yeah. And the one thing that many Arsenal fans will slate Arteta and Arsenal about is this continual transition of goalkeepers, this continual transition of defenders. Well, I think we have attackers that are very hard to replace. Saka is hard to replace. Martinelli, okay, maybe we've persevered with Martinelli, and Odegaard, we've got really world-class forwards. And where you're looking to upgrade have been our fullback positions, who have been not always hits, and or the goalkeeping position over the last few years.
But what you mentioned there, Ray, is that was the end of Bromo because we tried 36 different lineups, have a back four in front of him.
Yeah.
You know why? Because we don't have availability. That's been the problem. They've not been available, right?
Different injuries and
left, but
That's when he kept choosing Louise, now going for Louise. And it was just...
If you had a Tony bingo card, you're winning tonight, because Tony's hitting all of the bingo numbers tonight.
Just speaking of the
fullbacks.
Speaking of the fullbacks, I believe that at our club, we only really have one true fullback at the moment in the squad, and that's Kieran Tierney. All of the other players that play in that position, really, they come from another position and they've kind of transitioned. They've either come from a centre-back position and are able to play at fullback, or in Zinchenko's case, a midfield position. And I think that's not by mistake. I think that's by design, that fullbacks that we have are able to play at a centre-back position. Tommy Asu is another one, right? All of them, except for
even Tierney, he played centre-back for Scotland all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he does do that. He has done that. And I think that's by design, and maybe that's the way that the game is moving, because it seems to be the same at Man City. Other than Kyle Walker, a lot of the people that they use at fullback have played in other positions, namely centre-back, right? Gavardiol and some of the others in names I can't be bothered to mention.
Yeah, it's been the mode of
fashion, isn't it?
Back fours in the last 2 seasons, at least the trend. BX, I don't know about this one. So Merino helps Sociedad get into the European places, has the most won duels in Europe, as well as wins the Euros while being influential. But yet he's not good enough and won't raise the bar.
I don't think anybody on this panel said that. That might be somebody in the chat.
Maybe in the chat, but he is good enough, and he will raise the bar when he plays, and you'll see it. Now left hand.
I think he's also. I think he was also a vice captain at Real Sociedad, so he also brings leadership values as well, which is a good thing, because you can never not have enough good captains on Arsenal.
Yeah, and listen,
and he I looked at his stats, and he played a lot in their league. Over 30 games. I don't know if that was coming off the bench or whatever, but he certainly seemed that he was a player that was involved in what they were doing.
Yeah, look, and Jose has clarified it's not us; it's people that are saying that. That's what being said by the trolls.
Does that help us on corners and set pieces since he's
Yeah.
very good in there.
Tony, 6'2". We're gonna have some set piece goals this season again.
I was just looking at a I'll share it with you, but I was looking at a post and it kind of goes through all of our players 6 feet and up, and it's we've got a lot. I forgot where it is here, but it was
Sounds like Rule is happy. He wanted Merino for a while.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
Kai
Gary.
Havertz and Saliba are both 6'4", Gabriel 6'3", and then we've got like 5 players 6'2", Merino, Reis, Kirior, Tomiyasu, Gallipouri, and then you've got 2 6'1" players, Ben White and Partey. I mean, talking about tall, that's
Right.
that? 2, 4, 6, 8.
It's
That's 10.
better than what we used to have with Torreira.
It's half the players over 6 feet.
Correct, 5 foot.
And all 6 and all 10 of them can start for us, right? So
Yeah.
I mean, they have started or they can start.
Torreira used to be a midget Mexican wrestler, but
So yeah,
I don't know. I remember when I used to play football, not at any great level, but you'd look at the opposing team, and height was always an intimidating factor when you look at the opposing team. Well, this Arsenal team can play some football too, as well. We have height. We will hit that 40% probably again on set pieces, and who knows? It could be very, very important this weekend at Villa Park.
Well, you know what? We'll beat teams however they want to get beaten. All right.
Yeah.
Because you know what? They slip up on a corner, we beat them. They slip up in the midfield, we beat them. They cough up the ball in the box, we beat them. I mean, we have that. You just want more options to beat teams, and we're getting to that point where we have lots of options. And then when you go to the bench, it's something totally different, right? So
yeah. Rule said he actually wanted Merino. He was leaving Newcastle, but we bought Xhaka at the time. And so that was a few years ago. Rotation between Rice, Merino, and Partey will be fantastic. All big dudes.
I've got his numbers here if you're interested in hearing them. They're not bad at all. So last season, he played 32 matches for Real Sociedad. He got 5 goals and 3 assists. 10 yellow cards. Season before that, he played an extra game. He played 33 games. He got 2 goals. But he got 9 assists. The season before that, 21-22, he played 34 games. He got 3 goals, 2 assists. So obviously, he's a bit younger there. 2020 to 21, 26 games, 2 goals, 4 assists. And what I'm thinking is, like, we saw what happened with Xhaka. When Xhaka got moved into that position, when he left that last season, he got like 7 goals and I can't remember how many assists. Playing in that Arsenal way, playing in that Mikel Arteta way. 7-7. And if you look at Declan Rice, before he came to Arsenal, I think the most goals he ever scored in the season at West Ham was 2. Mm-hmm. And now playing for Arsenal, he can bag 7. So I think that someone like Mikel Merino, who he's not goal shy. You can see that he's creative. He can assist. So playing in this Arsenal team, sorry.
What's his yellow cards? You mentioned 10 yellow cards last season.
Well, in his whole career at Real Sociedad, he only ever got 2 red cards.
Okay.
1 in 2022 and 2023, and then 1 in his first season, 2018 to 2019. So he has picked up yellows. His first season, 9, then 9 again, then 5, then 8, then 6.
So he does have a bit of steel about him. Sounds like he's got a bit of steel about him.
Yeah. But red card wise, straight reds or whatever, he looks good. He's going to have, maybe if he picks up so many yellows, he may miss a game. So he's got a bit of balls about him. But I'm just hoping that in the same way that Xhaka improved under the way that he played in that left 8 position under Mikel Arteta, that maybe this guy it will actually take him up another level, playing with the players he has around him when he learns the way that we play, much in the way that Declan Rice has been able to score more goals and be more creative.
I was looking at some of the FB ref stats, and he's 99th percentile in aerials 1, 93% non-penalty goals. This is all versus midfielders. What is it? 94% for touches in the attacking zone. He's so all the things that we're going to need on top of the defensive talents that he has. So I think he brings a lot. He brings a lot extra for us. So it's going to be good to see how how this thing plays out for him. So yeah, it's going to be good. Good
Yeah.
addition.
Yeah, definitely. Mikel Arteta, safe in the knowledge that he's going to come into the club.
That last
pretty
comment
sure.
there, Gunner, is the key one.
Which one? We're getting a good player with instant impact.
The last one.
One that will have an instant impact, and he'll keep Kai out of midfield. Yeah. That's a good thing. Mikel Arteta will not go back to that as well.
But we are short, aren't we? That's two that have gone out in Emil Smith-Rowe and El Neni, and one that's come in.
Okay,
we have to remember that, Marino. At least
Emil Smith-Rowe did how many minutes? You're making it sound like Emil Smith-Rowe actually played minutes that significantly are going to be lost.
Body, right? He was named in squads. And he put in the Champions League and all that. He got a name squad, right?
Minutes lost
and if Eddie goes.
Look how many goals he scored for us coming off a bench.
If Eddie goes and the same thing happens.
What about Nwaneri though?
Really short. If Eddie goes and the same thing happens, now we've got Jesus and Havertz, maybe Trossard. You can even say Martinelli, but they don't really play there.
That's why we need to bring in at least one more attacker.
What if
they're gonna hope?
Injured,
there we go.
If Jesus gets injured, if Jesus gets injured, and Eddie's gone. How long are we going to rely on Kai Havertz? I mean, there's going to have to be another option in there.
That's where Martinelli will have to step up. I mean, we've seen it before. I mean, that's just
not really his position, though.
What about Nwaneri, though? As BX and I have been saying, what about Nwaneri? Could he be the man that replaces Emil Smith-Rowe? At least the body, you know what I mean? In that position.
The thing is, we don't need bodies. We need players. All right.
Yeah.
Fabio Vieira is still in our books. Can he do something? Who knows?
He's hurt, man.
He's still on our books,
right now. He's still hurt.
Right. That time you did not pronounce his name correctly.
Nwaneri.
You know, if you listen to a Nigerian say the name, it's Nweri. If you hear Ethan say it, it's Nwaneri. So you know.
You pronounce the N or not? Is the N silent? Do you start with the
Nigeria,
W? Nwaneri, or is it Nwaneri?
Nwaneri. It's a. I've heard Nigerians say it, and it's the N is definitely, you definitely sound that out, but it's not just N. It's a challenge on the tongue.
Nwaneri. There you go. Says Real.
Odegaard.
I've heard it said multiple ways. So either the N is sound or it's not. So
still classified as
Nwaneri. So it's something like what we explained there. So
Nwaneri.
Oh,
Nwaneri. Right, ask him. Gary, pronounce.
That's what that's it.
Pronounce your name out there. This is easier.
Tony, say anything. Stop.
So I think
that's after me.
That could be the numbers game for you, Stan. We bring in an academy kid, a player.
That's going to fill a gap. And as long as the numbers, we can't be depleting. That's what I'm saying. If Eddie goes, we're not going to replace him. Who's that guy?
No, and I think Mikel Arteta safe in the knowledge that he's coming in. One area is coming in, or not one area. You got me saying one area now. Merino coming in. He would have game plan for some of the things he's going to do in midfield. It'll take a little bit of time for Mourinho to get into the groove as well.
Turning into fucking my fair lady. The rain in Spain.
Yeah. One area actually pronounces his name on the Arsenal app. Yeah, Tony has it. Tony knows.
I know, right?
Apparently there was a video that came out where a lot of Premier League players pronounce their names so that everyone.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yes.
But they reckon that Haaland was taking the piss. People like, you don't pronounce it like that. Haaland's the guy that takes the piss and has a very straight, deadpan face, and he doesn't like wink or smile. And you think, oh, he's being serious. Or...
Yeah.
He's like a fucking robot.
Just call the boy what his mama named him, Ethan. There you go. All right, let's step into the forwards for a little bit. Bukayo Saka probably starts. Kai Havertz starts. Why not? Those two have scored on the opening weekend and assisted. Probably, I think we should stick with Martinelli, right? No takers.
You know what? It doesn't matter which one.
Divided panel.
For me, it doesn't matter which one we start. Either we're trying to get Martinelli back into form, or we're not. If we're going to try and get him back into form, right? He's had a really bad year, right? So you got to take your pick. We don't lose either one. We know we're going to stretch the field with Martinelli, right? The problem I have with that is nobody seems to be up there with him because he needs support immediately, right? Saka is never there, and Havertz doesn't get there in time. I think
Saka's on the other side of the field.
He can cross to him. Have you not seen our players? How many times did Martinelli cross to Saka in the preseason?
Well, do you see Martinelli coming on the back post when Saka's crossing?
Do you see what gear?
Right?
I have seen him crossing Martinelli's
going down
there.
the pitch.
Okay.
He doesn't wait for anybody to get there with him. He just fucking goes as fast as he can. And fucking
well, you know what?
This
is a coaching moment. This is where the coaches have to actually talk to him.
You have to think about it.
Because for me, at some point, you can't, as a coach, keep watching him do the same thing and going. You're putting yourself in danger. Where if you just push it out a little bit wider, that slows down, allows your attackers to catch up to you, and then bring it back across. Because he can do that, right? He can put that ball back on his right foot and cut inside eventually. You know, that's for me coaching because we got the speed. This is where the coaching part comes in, right? If we keep seeing the same thing over and over again and it's not changing, then either he's uncoachable or they're letting it happen, right? It's too. So that's kind of how I feel about that one. You know, because you don't want to take the speed and take it away from him. Like either you take it to the goal and you shoot. I'd rather him shoot it than what he does now, which is to sit there and when he finally does get to the touch line, it's like not a touch line, but the goal line, it's like out of space. No, cut inside, take that shot. You know, before they settle. You know, and then you know what? Yeah, he's got options. He needs better coaching in those scenarios because he's doing the wrong things. In my eyes.
F1 car with no brakes.
The ex-Scouter says after last season, this is the last fight derby match, so you need to play extra hard. I remember, I think there was something about NBC or something promoting this as North London Derby, Aston Villa, Arsenal. Give yourself a break, I guess. I think we have to think about what the game state's going to be like. It's going to be loud. It won't be quite dark because it's still kind of summer, right? But it will be loud and frenetic and fast. Martinelli might be. So there's a case you can always make a case for Martinelli. Then there's a case you can make for Trossard. Ultimately, Arteta's going to have to make that decision. Martinelli's thought process must be made simpler. Is that something that must be demanded of him, Rule, though? Or does he need
that's
to?
That's what coaching's all about,
I think it
right?
is simple. Run as fast as you can towards the goal and dribble it out in the back.
Well, that's not good coaching if that's what they're telling him to do. We know this.
Do you know, we've seen Pep do this over the year at the end of a game, go grab a player and remonstrate with him and tell him what he should do. You know, should we see more of that with Arteta?
This is also a problem I think many people have with Arteta is does he actually know how to get these guys to do certain things as attackers, right?
Yeah.
They're doing a lot of stuff probably on natural talent, but are they actually being coached to do things a better way? You know?
Yeah. And I guess time will tell. It's a big season for Martinelli Alonso coming up.
Yeah, because he did digress last year, mainly because of injury and or lack of confidence.
Yeah.
However, you know, I think that he's got to prove to himself and to his teammates that he can still, cut in and score goals. I never questioned his talent level. I think he has got to be more motivated to make a difference, you know, for Arsenal from the league. Because we all know that he's more than capable of doing better. Last year, I think he just lost his confidence because he sat down a lot because Trossard was getting a lot of minutes and playing really well. So I think also there's some competition there, and so Martinelli has to see that and look at it as okay. Well, Trossard's getting more playing time. At what point do I have to suit up my shorts and my shirt and realize that hey, I have a big part in this team too. For this team, they win trophies, and I think hopefully he realizes that he still has a place on his team. He just has to score some goals more so than he did last year.
Definitely. BX is entertaining the possibility of Martinelli transitioning from winger to striker through the middle. You know, it kind of worked with Thierry Henry in previous generations. Stan's shaking his head. No.
Well, we've
Don't-
tried
yeah.
it a few times and it does not work. Hasn't worked.
You see, that's the thing. A few times, what isn't gonna. You're not gonna see it work if it's not part of a transition.
Persevere.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So here's my
that's-
take on Martinelli. If everyone's had their take now.
Yep.
On the striker thing, I just think that he's a player that is. I don't see him as doing much in a box. He's a player that needs to have a lot of ground in front of him and to move the ball. He seems to really like that. But talking about who, for the next game, are you going to start Martinelli or you're going to start Trossard? I had an interesting thing the other week, and it was by Graham Souness. And the guy has obviously played at top level and been a manager. And he said that when you start a season at the beginning of the season, players need about 4, in some cases 6 games to really get up to speed. So if that is the case, then I would say that both Martinelli and Trossard, they both need minutes. Whether that's one starts and one comes on or vice versa, because they're going to need those 4 to 6 games before the manager can then say, okay, now which one of those is the one that I need to be starting, because they should be up to about speed now. So I think it's early days to cut someone off at their legs, because they might not be showing you something if they're the one that started, because they've come out of the preseason, and according to a pro footballer, you need at least 4 to 6 games to really see whether you're up to speed. And he's done that as a player, and he's done it as a manager, looking at players who he started seasons with. So I think it's too early to start saying, no, I guess this guy's no good, we should be starting this guy. They both need the minutes to get up to a certain level, and then you'll be able to start making a judgment on who's really earning the right to be the starter.
Yeah. BX calls that Jesus. He's also there, but I don't think I want to see Jesus play up front against physical
I was going to say
defenders
again.
in Aston Villa. Again.
Never again.
All right.
Jesus play up front again.
I thought you just said, I never want to see him play up front again. I was like, strong.
Against
Yeah.
physical Aston Villa defenders. I'd much prefer Kai Havertz be up there.
Just don't give Ray a hard time on Jesus Day.
Even Martinelli won player of the month, filling in for Aubameyang. Then Arteta disappeared him. Tough on Arteta. I mean, Jesus on the wing. He's not the Messiah. He's a very naughty boy. Jesus, maybe, I don't know. Michael, who are you talking about there? Which one is a naughty boy? And else to add to this game, Gary? The hunger has got to be there from last season.
We need to, we need to just continue to win, and 2, we need to, show them what happened last year. Not happening this year. What happened last season? Not going to happen this time around. We got to keep getting better. We know we need to be more clinical in front of goal. This is one of those tests, right? On the road.
We know Man City will
we need the crowd, and we need to keep the crowd quiet to give them no hope, right?
And we know Man City are going to be Ipswich Town. So when we take to the field, we'll know Man City are 3 points ahead of us, and we'll need to respond as well. Rule said all players need minutes. There's something called rhythm, Martinelli has lost his rhythm and needs the game time more than Trossard. Yeah, but
No,
I mean,
I disagree. Because last year everybody was always bitching when Trossard would come in for 1 or 2 games and not score a bunch of goals. But what happened when he had a string of games? He's
yeah.
scoring a goal pretty much every game.
I think to your point, Tony, Trossard needs rhythm as well. And how long does Trossard sit on the bench if Martinelli's not working? Um, not that he isn't physically working hard, which I think is one of the traits why Mikel Arteta continues to pick him, because he will come back and help out in that left back area
Yeah.
defensively.
There's still that green play on for me.
Yeah, but at the same time, Trossard needs to have the trust as well of the manager as well if it's not going well, and that's where maybe Arteta needs to substitute 5 to 10 minutes sooner, and may well be needed as well because of the fitness of the players coming out of preseason. You know,
But wouldn't you? If it was me, I would play like Trossard for 60 minutes, and when everybody's got tired legs, now
Yep.
you have a fresh, speedy Martinelli.
and that's the perfect thing to do. We have two players with two different traits, and in that position, you could actually do something in that position that could hurt Aston Villa, tire them out. First, I get him tired out by technical football with Trossard, and then catch them out with long balls over the top with Martinelli onto it. Brownie said, Stan, that's right. Give players a month or so at the start of the season to get up to speed. Also, we used to give foreign players at least a season to bed in. Nowadays, those rules go out the window. I think we still allow that for new players coming from the continent. Ray, it's the same from the movie Life of Brian, the Messiah. Yeah, got it. I just need to do it in the voice. Yeah. Yeah. So there you go. Anything else to add? I mean, it's not really worthwhile talking about Arteta versus Emery. I don't think it's a valid conversation to have. Unai Emery is a seasoned manager and he's won competitions, albeit in second tier competitions, the Europa League and some cups. Mikel Arteta is not quite, hasn't had the amount of years that Unai Emery's had, and Unai Emery has had a tough deal at Arsenal. But to his credit, he's looks like a good fit at Aston Villa. And he's never been, he's never really laughed at in Arsenal's face about the wins. He's been dignified in his victories. So I have to give him some kind of credit. The goalkeeper, on the other hand, is a little bit different with Emi Martinez. So I'd like to shut him up on Saturday as well. He's going to be tough to beat on
Come
Saturday.
on, you and Gary still love him.
True, Tony. Any other comments to make, or else we'll get out of here?
Nope, I think we broke everything down.
Covered everything?
No.
There is a bunch of games on this weekend. There's a lot of, we're not going to go through it in any detail, but there's a lot of who gives a fuck games. Tony counts about 5. It starts with Brighton against Man United.
You counted about 5. I didn't count this week.
But there is Aston Villa Arsenal is probably the game of the weekend, and a few other highlights there. But listen, we'll leave it there. We'll be back on Sunday. Gary will have a show on Saturday.
Jermaine Jenas. Everyone's asking about Jermaine Jenas. They're asking. He got fired, didn't he? Why?
What did he do? What did he get fired? I was busy today.
Well, as I understand it, because I've been listening as more things have come out. Allegedly, it's apparently to do with inappropriate text messages to a female that works on the One show, of which he is a host on, as well as the match of the day stuff. He's also a host on a TV show called The One Show, which is basically after you get the news in England at about 6:30, it goes to a regional show in London called The One Show for about half an hour. It's like London news and stuff like that.
So
He's been fired. He's been fired from the BBC, and that's allegedly, as I heard it, the reason is something to do with inappropriate text. And he's come out and said there's two sides to a story, but I can't say anything more, and it's in the hands of my legal team. So that's as much as I know. I don't know what's true, what isn't. It's alleged and all that shit, but that's as much as I know about it.
As Rule says, inappropriate behavior. Not good.
And he was on air at Talk Sport while when the announcement came out that he'd been fired, he was literally on air on a show on Talk Sport. So he obviously didn't get much.
He got fired while he was on air at Talk Sports. Brownie's got all the scoops. Probably coming. Brownie's probably releasing a video as we speak right now about Jermaine Jenas.
He probably knows more than I do.
Yeah, Brownie never does that. He doesn't like controversy. He never does that kind of stuff.
He shies away from it, Gary. He shies
away from that kind of content.
He doesn't lean into it at all.
Isn't that about 90% of the repertoire? Yeah.
When's the video dropping?
Brownie's never received a cease and desist letter from Megan Rapinoe.
Yeah, see what you're doing. You they'll sprinkle the seed. You know the bird's coming. Start throwing the seed up in the air. The bird's coming.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about it because we're saying goodbye.
Yeah.
Oh man. Right, that's Jermaine Jenas. Jermaine Jenas.
I've already done one. I'm going to look at that afterwards.
Jenas. Huh?
He said, I've already done one, Ray, and called it Brownie Does a Jermaine Jenas. Okay, I have to go look at that.
I mean, he's probably right. He probably already did one.
Yeah.
Just ask Brownie. If you want to know anything, just ask Brownie.
The best video that Brownie ever did, right? It was in his early days. He filmed himself sleeping for like 8 hours. And me and my missus watched a bit of it. Just him sleeping in bed. There's a camera. A kip.
Okay.
I remember that.
I mean,
my missus she's like, there's something soothing. My missus is like, there's something soothing about it. Oh, stop fucking scratching me. Sorry, the cat. Fuck, what's up with you? Fucking hell. Fuck. That's new. That's like the first time in fucking how long? What the fuck?
Did you sit back on her or what?
I don't know. Stop doing that.
Did she scratch you?
You're gonna have to sleep with one eye open,
dude. Knife in my back.
Yeah. Stan, don't film him. Don't try to sleep tonight. You won't be able to sleep, as Gary said.
You know.
Christmas Eve. I need to get my watch hours up. Don't pull a Gertzuma.
Oh, yeah, dude, this is where we're going. It's over. Come on, end the stream, Dave.
It's time. Say good night, Tony.
Good night, Tony.
See you, Alonso. Thanks for joining. Gary, thanks for being here. Stan, thanks for being here. And Lawrence, thanks for being here as well. We're out of here.
Fuck you, Ray. Don't take me.
I said say good night, Tony. You got the first say.
Yeah, but you didn't.
Oh, come on.
What's he gonna thank you for?
Thanks, Tony.
That's your bit.
All right.
Just do your bit.
Do your bit. Oh, can I just say one other thing before we go? I would be
taking back the thank you. You gonna take back your
I would be annoyed if I didn't say this because it's nice sometimes when you get a comment from a viewer. Gunnar Glenn dropped a message and said he really likes this podcast, so that is much appreciated when you hear that. Listen, you know people are watching, but for somebody to take time and say thank you, like the content you're putting out, that's appreciated. We appreciate it very much so. So, good, Glenn. I know you watch. You won't be watching now because it's 4:00 in the morning. And also for people who do watch in the UK, much appreciated as well. I know It's not easy. Thanks for the plug, Ray. Okay, go check out Brownie's video. It's already dropped. But yeah, listen, Gunnar Glenn, thanks for saying the kind words. We are out of here. Thanks, Tony. We got to thank Tony twice. All right, bye. Take care. Come on the Arsenal on Saturday.